What's going on, world? I am Chris McPherson, and I'm pleased to be here with you another week. You could have been anywhere, and you decided to tune in once again, and I greatly appreciate that. For a moment, I want to talk to you about conditioning your condition. Our condition is a result of our conditioning, and in fact, conditioning happens all the time. Conditioning is really the process of getting a human and or animal or a plant or whatever it may be to respond in a certain way based on the stimulus and things that we give it. I have been working to be a better person, and being a better person first helps me be a better person to everybody else around me and help others to become their best. And in that, I've studied a lot of psychology, behaviorism, and how people work and move. And conditioning is something that really dictates all of those different things. There's a great example in psychology called classical conditioning. And classical conditioning basically states that we can get any result from anything that we want as long as we condition it that way. There is a psychologist by the name of Ivan Pavlov who did an experiment with a dog. In this experiment, he had a dog, he had food. The dog actually wants to eat the food, the dog salivates. Makes sense. Your mouth is watering, you're hungry. We all do the same thing. Well, he also would blow a whistle to the dog and take away the food. And the dog heard the whistle and responded none because he didn't know what the whistle was. Well, he then takes the food and puts it with the whistle, and the dog salivates because the dog is back to the food. Well, now he introduces the whistle again without the food, and what do you know? The dog salivates. Now, before, the dog didn't salivate because it didn't have anything associated to the whistle. But when the whistle and the food were put together, now it conditioned the dog to understand that when it heard the whistle, food should be coming, and it began to salivate. Well, in this example is how everything works for us as well. You see, conditioning is the process of training something to get the desired result. Consider something like your hair. People who put in conditioner, it's supposed to be used to make it more manageable, more stylable for your process of how you want to wear it. Consider your physical conditioning. This is getting your body in shape, making sure that you are healthy and fit and all of these different things. That is all conditioning. Conditioning, the way we are training ourselves to respond to situations. Well, in learning to condition our conditioning, we want to start with the end goal in mind and reverse engineer how we get there. We want to say, this is the optimal, this is the best, this is where I want to see myself in whatever capacity that is, and then we begin to condition ourselves towards it. For instance, you've seen people who are conditioned in many different ways. Some of you know individuals who, when their phone rings, they absolutely have to check it. Whether it's a phone call, a voicemail, an email alert, whatever it is. Well, if you think about it throughout the day, there's constantly alerts that are going on. And if you are conditioned to looking at your phone all the time, immediately when you hear that sound, you go to it. Well, maybe we can condition ourselves in different ways. Maybe we can condition ourselves to not be attracted to our phone by hearing that chirp, by simply turning off the chirp. Therefore, there is no response to it because you did not know that you got the alert. And maybe then we condition ourselves to check our phone and not be held in check by our phone. You see, the whole aspect of conditioning your condition starts with understanding that it's a process of getting what we want. It is a process of manipulating the situations to produce an outcome. And within that, we've got to be conscious that everything we are doing is working to produce the outcome that we truly desire. So in learning to condition your condition, there's three important things that we must do. The first thing is simply observe. If you go back to Ivan Pavlov and his example of the dog, he was not physically in the experiment with the dog, but he was providing the process in which it was going to take place. So we must begin to take the position of the watcher and just start to look at our behaviors, actions, and results. Second, once we've observed, we must then begin to change our stimulus. We must then interject different things in order to get a different result. Remember, Ivan did this through the whistle. He could have did this with a piano key. He could have did this with a pencil. He could have did this with a pillow. He really could have did it in any form. Well, maybe we figure out what we've got to use in order to get a different response out of what we're looking for. And number three, we must be conscious to break our conditioning. If you've observed the conditioning of the situation and we understand what things we can put in place to get a different result, then we must break our conditioning from the things that do not serve us. You see, in order to get that result that we want, we're going to have to do many things different. But the different expectation that we put on the result is going to help us get there. And breaking our conditioning is one way that we should absolutely do that. Remember, my friends, this is the positive place where we come to learn, discuss, and think about all things positive. My goal this week is just to share with you what I learned about conditioning and efforts that it helps you to condition your lifestyle to whatever you want. So I simply ask, consider your condition, not only the condition that you're in, but the condition that you want, and work towards getting better, work towards getting different by changing your conditioning. Remember, we must first observe, understand what's going on. Second, we must introduce new stimulus to the situation to see how it reacts. And third, we must simply break our conditioning from the things that have gotten us the results and choose to use those in a different way. So if you call me, I may not be able to pick up because my phone is on silent because I am not being conditioned to respond to my phone. Its job is simply to be conditioned to respond to me. And in that same example and in that analogy, everything else in this world will respond to you in the same manner that you condition it to. After all, it's possible.